Hello, and welcome to another edition of Navigating Life with Coach Flo. Today, I have what I would call the sex therapist on the line, but he is not. He is not. He is not. But he is the marvelous Nyatu Marvel. And I am so delighted to have him on because he is going to teach us a few things about what happens in the mind of a man as it relates to the woman that he looks to marry and the responsibility that comes with that role called wife. So, without further ado, I introduce to you the amazing, the amazing Nyatu Marvel. Welcome to the show, Nyatu.
Hey, Coach. Hey,
Hey.
Coach, so much for having me on the show. I am so excited to be here, and I am looking forward to this conversation. I've been looking forward to it all week since we spoke, and I hope for this to be one of your best shows ever.
I think it will be. Will you please share with the audience a little bit about what you want them to know about who Inyatu is? What are you all about? How do you help people? Help the audience understand who you are.
Okay, great. My name is Nyatu Marvel, and I'm just a kid from Chicago. I am a Black love enthusiast, that I believe in Black love. I encourage Black love. I support Black love. And professionally, I am a dating and relationship consultant. And I'm also a registered and certified premarital and marriage couples counselor. I facilitate a couples assessment tool that allows couples to individually online take a 250 plus question survey that explores their upbringing, their thinking as it pertains to spiritual beliefs, finances, all of the category, over 30 categories that dictate compatibility and the strength and weaknesses of a relationship. And the algorithm pairs that information together with their significant others' answers to all of those questions and generates a report that allows me to dig deep into strengthening couples' relationships without having to go through 10 or 20 sessions, just trying to dig up that information to even begin to help couples. So it streamlines it. It puts a trigger hair pinpoint situation as far as identifying, what the issues are very early on. No one can see the answers to the questions. Once you answer the questions, you can't see them. Your spouse can't see them. I can't even see them. Only the algorithms can see the exact answers to the questions, but the report, generates based on those answers. And so I'm also a certified Maxwell Method life coach and a newly published author of the book, Why He Married Her and Played Me, 9 Secrets to What He's Thinking. And my chapter that I was assigned in that book, because there were not 8 gentlemen, including myself, who each contributed a chapter to the book. I was assigned a chapter on sexual compatibility. And so probably never on my own would have chosen to write something about sex, but ultimately I was able to embrace that chapter and the theme of that chapter, and I had a lot of fun and learned a lot even in putting that chapter together. So I'm just so excited, Coach Lowe, to be here with you and your viewers and to, explore whatever it is they want to explore. They call me, and Nyatu Marvel is Hitch. If you've ever seen the movie Hitch, Will Smith, I am the real life. He was playing me in the movie. I am the real life Hitch right here live and in the flesh. And we're going to, tap into a lot of things to hopefully benefit the audience and benefit Black love, because that's my goal.
All right. Well, y'all know who Nyatu is, right? So thank you so much, Nyatu. It it has been a delight just to have conversation with you and to read your contribution to why he married her and played me. And I'm just like, I was so blown away. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. This guy is over here. He's acting all modest. You got to get the book. You have to get the book. Where did I get the book? Because we need to put that on the forefront. And
Absolutely.
y'all,
Absolutely. So my website is www.thehitchagency.com. So I am Hitch, but the company is the Hitch Agency. So you can go right over to thehitchagency.com. You can purchase the book. You can book a free 15-minute consultation. You can book a session. You can book a package of sessions. You can book the couples assessment. And with that couples assessment, it reduces the rate of divorce by 30%. And that 30% is based on 4 million couples being served over the last 35 years. This is number one assessment tool for 35 years. Over 4 million couples relationships strengthened, and 30% reduction in the risk of divorce. And so it's just a very powerful tool. And I'm excited to just be a part of it. Again, it allows me to live in my purpose and fulfill my mission.
awesome. So, y'all, we are going to talk about the significance. It is the month of love. It is the month of healing heart disease. It is the month of Black history. So we got Black love. We got Black history. We got the heart and all that it encompasses. And it all happens right here in this very short month of February. But today we are going to talk with Nyatu about the significance of sexual compatibility. And so, Nyatu, you talked about how you would have never chosen this chapter to contribute to this book. If you could have chosen your chapter, what would it have been called?
Probably just how to attract your partner and learning to attract your partner, becoming a magnet for your partner. Out of the chapters that already exist in the book, my good buddy, Charles Dixon, his chapter is actually my favorite chapter. Of course, I can't be biased and pick my own chapter is my favorite, but I really enjoyed Charles's chapter. It was called You're a Placeholder, Not a Partner. And he really gave women some tools to be able to recognize the difference between the two. And even I think sometimes guys unconsciously take action and behave in a way that would suggest that they know the difference, but I think it's unconscious. And so it even made me have to look in the mirror and say, hey, these are some signs about yourself that you may need to pay attention to, that you might not have associated with the fact that this person is probably not for you. And so, yeah, I probably would have wanted to contribute to that chapter.
Okay. And I can see that. Even so I like the idea of the magnet. And here is why. When I read the book, I was just constantly like, whoa, you came with it. Okay. You came with all of it. And when I was reading the book, I was like, okay, how did this happen? So I just kind of want to go back and revisit the point that you didn't feel like you were the one to do the actual chapter. You did, but I would definitely beg to differ. And the reason why I say that is because you took sexual compatibility from one step to the next, to the next, to the next, to the end. And it was almost like it was never ending. And so, I mean, because we're talking about a relationship here, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think that I have so many favorite parts. Like, y'all, you would think he wrote a whole book. He wrote a very short chapter. But when I tell you, it was so impactful as it related to me being a woman. And it was almost like he was giving us the inside track to the mind of a man and what it is that men need from women. Um, you know what? You tell us about that. You tell us about that.
Okay, well, sexual energy is very powerful. Sexual energy creates human beings, babies, so that, when you put it in perspective, that two people coming together and merging sexual energy is powerful enough to create an entirely new, human being. And so, with that being said, when you understand the power of sexual energy and sexual compatibility and the sexual experience, that this can be the difference between a man and a woman, feeling on cloud nine on a frequent basis, and or feeling down in the dumps on a daily basis. That scientific research dictates that great sexual experiences injects dopamine and endorphins and all of these chemicals into the brain and into the body that make us feel good, feel more confident. And when you have that going on, they say when you look good and you feel good, you do good, right? And so this can be very impactful. We don't want to make it into a situation where sex is the biggest and most important thing in a relationship. Certainly, sex alone should not and will not carry a healthy relationship, but it can be a very important component, and it can be a very useful component, because while it may require you to put more time and energy into it, the reward is tremendous, that you will reap a lot more than what you sow when you plant those sexual energy seeds with the person that you're supposed to be with. And I understand that, life is busy, that we all have a lot on our plate. So it's easy to get distracted. There are a lot of great people who love their spouse, love their significant other, who aren't living up to their potential and or maximizing the sexual experience. And, I can't decide for a person if that's something that they want to do. But I did set out with the intention to write a chapter that would give somebody the tools to do that if they wanted to do that, and bring some awareness to that to a person who just, didn't realize that and didn't know.
And you did that. You accomplished your goal, bro. Ding, you hit the mark. You hit it. You hit it. And it was just amazing because, like I said, from a woman's standpoint, sometimes you just mentioned it, you just don't know sometimes. And when you are trying to understand someone else, you have to have proper communication. And so I was going to ask a question that I'm going to hold off from, but I am going to bring this one up. So you just talked about how sex is not the main thing and the only thing that matters, but it matters and it is up there on the scale. So it matters tremendously, but it is not the only thing that is at the top. And so you you mentioned the movie, what is it called, Harlem Nights.
Absolutely.
So in Harlem Nights there was a time in the film where there was a guy named Richie who was in a brothel, and he was seeing a woman that they called Sunshine, played by Leela Rashawn. And
Yes.
she's a beautiful woman, but in the movie, she was depicted as this woman who had all of the tricks of the bedroom, if you will. She knew how to satisfy, to the point that the guy, Richie, called his house and said to his wife or his woman that he was with, I ain't never coming back home whoa, pump your brakes, bro. When did that happen? Is that a real thing?
So yes, so as I said in the book, I don't want to make any woman feel like sex is the reason why a man is doing anything wrong or anything negative or dishonest in a relationship. But that is not the responsibility I'm trying to put on a woman. That great sex is going to keep a man. That is not what I'm saying. But we do have to understand that there can be a very significant impact in that area. And so, yes, that can be very real. How many very smart men have literally blown up their household, blown up their families because of a sexual experience. So, I see Jay-Z, he has become a billionaire, very smart businessman, very calculated person, long-term career, made so many of the right decisions, but in love and in marriage, struggle to make the right decisions. And obviously at times by his own admission and his wife's Beyonce's own admission, made what can be considered the wrong decisions. And there are so many, psychological reasons for this. And so these are the things that we have to understand, that there is a responsibility with monogamy, and more than it is about sexual tricks. What Sunshine was doing was she was having sex with Richie's mind. She was having sex with Richie's ego. And so there was a television show on HBO that was out some years back called Hung. And there was this rich dentist, and his wife found out through his credit card bills or something like that he had been paying prostitutes. So she threw him out of the house, and he was just outside, all distraught, talking to his neighbor. And he explained to his neighbor that he loved his wife so much, and that to him, his wife was so much more attractive than those prostitutes, right? And that he loved her, and that he would much rather be with her and much rather be having sex with her. He said, but when he was with the prostitutes, he liked himself more, right?
Wow.
Because prostitutes will squeeze his arm and say, "You've been working out," or, this shirt looks so sexy. Just compliments are free. They don't take any energy. You don't have to do no push-ups. You don't have to do no sit-ups. You don't have to do no cardio. You don't have to break no sweat. It's just a compliment. And so what these women were doing for him is they were stroking his ego, and it was empowering him to go out here and confidently take on the world. Right. And so there's a such thing in a chemical called testosterone.
Right.
And it greatly reduces in most men when they get married. And there is a scientific and logical reason for that. And that is because all of that ego stroking and all of that, psychological empowerment has dissipated. And I don't think it's because women are doing it on purpose. I think they don't realize how powerful they are in their man's life. It's just like sports. No one person, Michael Jordan, never won a championship by himself. He was great, 60 points, 50 points, killing. But until he figured out a team situation, it just could not happen. Same thing in relationships. This is why, even though I have enjoyed being single tremendously, I see the tremendous value in magnetizing my partner and getting married to my wife with the right woman, because I understand what type of empowerment, what type of power there is in two people touching and agreeing and really investing in the relationship and getting, an amazing return on that relationship. And so, this is an important, same thing for a woman. A man give a woman multiple orgasms and she go around her friends, guess what her friends are going to say? "You are glowing." You're glowing. You look different. What is going on? This is scientific. This is, I'm not just making this up. That if a man can, use sexual energy to empower his woman, she will feel like she can conquer the world more than she already does. Again, I'm not saying that people should rely on their partner solely for confidence or anything, but I'm just the power that is available to people in relationships is, tremendous. And because people haven't tapped into that power, I think it's greatly ignored and underutilized.
But I think that you do such a good job of bringing to light the importance of the gift that God gave us, not just in procreation, but in pleasure as well.
Absolutely.
And that is something that takes two, a man and a woman. That is what I believe, a man and a woman to come together and just really enjoy exploring one another freely. And
Absolutely.
that's what you called the sexual experience freeing. It's liberating. It is a lot of amazing things. But I believe that, I mean, just me, I am a Christian, and because I believe a certain way, and because I do have a certain moral standard, there are
Mm-hmm.
just some things that have to kind of be talked through. And I'm I'm not going to do certain stuff, you know. And so I believe that sometimes, you know, I think that sometimes women are made to feel like, well, what she won't do, I will, and you'll end up choosing me. And
Right.
I think that that's a really, really twisted way of seeing things. I think personally, when a man and a woman is together, communication is key. And
Absolutely.
um one of the things that, and I'm just talking about around communication, one of the things that you talked about from a woman's standpoint is that it's important for a woman to communicate with her man not just what she wants from him, but talk to him about what he did good, what you appreciated, how you enjoyed what specifically. Puff him up. Oh, I did that. Yeah, give him some doubt.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So communication is very key. Again, I'm convinced that it's more mental than it is physical. And so I'm 46 years old, and I've been blessed to have lots of different types of experiences. And what I've come to learn is, a lot of people just don't know themselves, not only sexually, but at all. And so getting to know yourself is knowing all of you. And this is the only way to maximize your life, is to fully understand yourself. And sexuality has a lot to do with it, because it determines what you're attracted to, what type of person you pick. And so a lot of us have allowed our upbringing and or society to make almost all of our decisions for ourselves without ever second guessing or questioning what's good for us. And so a lot of people are beating their head up against a brick wall day in and day out in various aspects of their lives, because they are so trained to agree with what was presented to them about what life and love and relationships and a career and money is supposed to look like, that they have never ever just even asked themselves the question, is there a possibility of doing something different and having a different and even a better and enhanced experience? And so, this is key, that again, it would be rewarding to you as well, because if you get into the space where all of this good energy is being injected into your partner, the only place for them to deliver it or manifest it or exude it is at home. They can't go to work and get all sexual. So, trust and believe that, this will come back tenfold, and that a lot of people don't even know what they like. A lot of people date and try to marry and get into relationships with people that they think would impress their friends and family, right?
Mm.
So, somebody created a standard of beauty where tall, dark, and handsome. to where, you know, so many women dream about tall, dark, and handsome. Well, if they really explored themselves, I remember the movie Pulp Fiction. The young lady was a very slim, tall model, what, you know, white America would call model-sized woman, and she was telling her man that she wanted to grow a pot belly because rubbing a stomach, a tummy, feels better than abs. That little flab feels better pressed up against her body than hard muscles, right? And she was able to, you know, just acknowledge this to herself. And so I, you know, tell people all the time who struggling in the dating area, in the relationship space, they have to understand that everybody don't have to like you. Just one, and it is somebody who, what you are, that's their dream. They dream this other standards of beauty or none of that. You are their dream, and we just have to trust and believe and be confident, and then remove the obstacles that we've placed up for ourselves that prevents us from magnetizing that person. So communication is key. Knowing yourself is key just for maximizing life, not just pleasing your partner, but maximizing your own life and marriage or relationship and sexual experience. And so, again, you know, the title involves the word marriage. So certainly, you know, we're encouraging people to be married. And I try to, you know, let people who are married know that this book is not just for somebody, you know, who wants to be married or is trying to get married or is maybe frustrated because some situations that they thought might end up in marriage did not end up in marriage. But this is a informational tool that anybody, single, married, and anything in between, can benefit from.
I love it. I hope y'all taking notes. I don't, you know what? Don't take notes. Buy the book, because the book has more than even what he's talking about in it. But you speak about this topic in from such an eloquent approach, till it's easy to digest what it is that you laying down, like you talked about in Love, John. It's easy to pick up what you laying down, because I wanna go back and I want to revisit the statement that you made about, in marriage, the role and responsibility of a wife. When you think about the things that you're sharing with us in Yatu about the needs of a man, how those things are connected to his confidence, they're connected to his ego, they're connected to what he believes about himself. What does his wife think about him? Does she see him as the man that he is? You know, he see himself as great, but if you are not attracted to him, if you are not embracing him and bringing him in close to you, and in one of the parts of Inyatu's chapter, he talked about different things that you should do. And he talked about dance all up on them, you know, touch on them, you know, tell him this in his ear, and, you know, so just all of these different things that make a difference. And sometimes we think as women that you have to go outside of the home to do some of these things. Okay, well, we need to go to a friend's party or whatever. Have your own party at home. It could be in your living room. It could be in your bedroom. It could be in the bathroom. It could be in the kitchen. With your spouse, your responsibility to one another is to exchange that energy that you're talking about. Absolutely. And so you talked about, in order to have an extraordinary sexual experience, you called it the trifactor. Yes. Let's talk about that.
Okay, awesome. And so, you know, again, I'm 46 years old, and you know, because I'm a dating and relationship consultant, some people think I'm an expert, refer to me as an expert. But what I think of myself as is a student. I am constantly learning. This process is never over. I will never call myself the expert, because I learn new things every day. And so it was just a few short years ago that it was brought to my attention that a great sexual experience includes you feeling great before the sexual experience, during the sexual experience, and after the sexual experience. And as soon as I heard it, I realized how important that information was, because a lot of people are going into sex with anxiety and dread and fear. And how can you have a good during if going into it, there are all of these negative feelings and experiences going into it, whereas some other people are able to enter their sexual experience, which is why I use the movie Love Jones. My brother Lorenz Tate from Chicago starred in the movie Love Jones, and he was digging a woman, and he got up on stage and he dedicated a highly sexualized but metaphoric spoken word piece that he dedicated to her on stage, and all the women in the audience were going crazy. And any man with any sense and confidence about himself can admit that he understands why all those women were feeling what Lorenz Tate's character was saying in that poem. So yes, he set this before he took her out on a date. Before anything, he set the stage. He, created this sexual charge in between the two of them. And he continued to do so. That when they finally went out on a date, he asked her to go up north and go to the Red Hair, to a reggae club where, the culture is to slow wind and grind on each other all night to, great reggae music. And so again, these are all things that he understood prior. This is not, they say the pros know, the rest guess, right? And so these were not amateur moves that Lorenz Tate's character was implementing in creating this energy between him and this woman, to where they end up having sex on the first night. He had been working long before that night to create the energy for something like that to happen. And it is fun. It is so fun to, create sexual energy with a person that you're not even in their space. And because of technology, it's 2021, there are memes and GIFs and pictures and songs and so many tools that are free that a person can use to ignite and raise the level of their sexual experience even before they get to it. And then two, that communication piece comes back into the play during the actual sexual act. One, you need to do some research and find out what's going on and be creative about it, because most men and or women don't want the first or the second date for you to be asking them what they like sexually and them having to try to give you some stiff list. But, people, when you invest some time in learning how to be an effective communicator, and you use all of your experience with people, whether it be in the grocery store or in a business meeting or at work or at school or with your kids or with your family members, really trying to be the best communicator that you can possibly be. And the most effective communication is the communication that accomplishes the goal. And so bottom line, we have to be able to learn to have smooth conversations with the people that we're interested in, to learn about what makes them happy and what satisfies them. And so this book explores some of the ways you can do that. And then last but not least, there are thousands of examples, and of course, thousands or maybe even millions of people every day that are having sex, that after the sex is over, they feel bad. Yeah. Having sex with maybe an ex that they shouldn't be having sex with. They're having sex with somebody who they don't know what the nature of the relationship is. They don't know how the other person feels about them. And so they're feeling anxiety and dread and maybe even regret after the sexual experience. And so it wouldn't matter if the man made you come 10 times. If after you finish coming, you feel terrible because you like, he doesn't love me, or he doesn't care about me, or he's calling an Uber for me already, or, a number of things that could cause a man or a woman to really feel bad after the sexual experience. That's not a great sexual experience. And so, again, something I probably participated in, but never framed in the scope of three parts: feeling great before, during, and after. And so, for any of the viewers out there, here is some powerful information for you, because knowing is half the battle, right? Just knowing that this is a thing, right, that can be accomplished is half the battle. And after that, it's just, doing a little bit of homework to see what it is that you can do to improve all three.
Agreed. I love the trifactor because I think that it's so important, because people can have a tendency, even afterwards, to just kind of move too fast. Don't move away from it, but digest it, take it in slowly, watch your words, watch your actions, just be present in the moment. So all of those things really matter, and they kind of seal the deal. And it's almost like it brings you into a place of greater intimacy.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just love all of that. But because you are also a marriage coach, a marriage counselor.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you this question, because when it comes to sexual intimacy, sexual compatibility, what happens when a woman has been introduced to sex in an inappropriate fashion? So she has some limitations. Um, she has some limitations about what she's willing to do and all of that. How do you suggest, from a man's standpoint, how do you have that conversation so that you are received from the man?
Very careful. First and foremost, very careful. Relationships can be very fragile, especially during the beginning, and people's understanding and people's feelings are very fragile in the beginning. That, metaphorically, I compare relationships to humans, and that when they first start, it's a baby. And so, yeah, you don't, pat your baby on the butt and say, okay, go eat, go use the bathroom, go handle. You got to baby this until it grows stronger and has more capabilities to be able to handle things on its own. And relationships are the same way. When you first know each other, any shocking information is going to be, very jarring. And any strong feelings that you have, if you get any contradictory information, is going to make you question everything, because it's the very early stages. And, the relationship is a baby. And so, it's unfortunate, but we're Black in America. And so all of us are walking around with some form of PTSD that I don't know why. I guess I do know why. I say that I don't know why, but I was sexually abused by a woman adult when I was 10 years old. And so from that point on, I just got into my head that as I was getting to know young women from the age of 10, I would ask women if they had ever been raped or sexually abused.
Really?
Yes, all the way until today, right? And I can say that I probably can count on my two hands how many out of thousands of women that I've had this conversation with where the answer was no. They have never been sexually assaulted or abused or raped in their life. And 90-something% of Black women have suffered some form of sexual abuse, sexual assault, and or rape. And then the huge, even bigger shocker is that 90% of Black men between the age of 7 and 15 years old have also suffered some form of inappropriate sexual behavior with an adult woman. And so many of us are walking around either, closed off, protecting ourselves from our own sexual awareness, sexual energy, and maximizing our sexual experience. And then the other half of us are walking around here hypersexual,
Right.
and why, and feeling guilty and embarrassed and low moral value and shamed and all of these things because we haven't been introduced to a healthy way of processing how we got to be this way, and the trauma that it caused and what's going on. And so these are deep conversations that are beyond the scope of a regular person being able to manage in a healthy way. So my suggestion is getting help. I know that therapy can be taboo in the Black community. I personally, I love therapy. Yeah. I don't think you should wait till something is wrong to go to therapy. I think it's healthy for maintenance, right? That we deal with a lot, we manage a lot ends up on our mind, a lot ends up on our shoulders, and we need a safe place to unpack all those things and put those things down. And because it simply, for the most part, I think because it costs money, Black people avoid getting help from the outside. And ultimately, that's exactly what you need. You need somebody who won't judge you, somebody who hasn't known you were a kid or since back in the day when you did this or did that wrong to judge you. They're only assessing you and examining you from the place that you're at right now. They have no interest in what you say or do as far as it affecting their life. They don't know who you know. They don't know you, so they're not internalizing anything that you're saying. They're not being biased about anything that you're saying. They're not throwing anything back in your face. It's illegal for them to tell somebody, and even if it wasn't, they don't know nobody in your life to go tell them. And so although it might seem strange to pour your heart out and lay all your business on the table to a stranger, that is actually the safest place to do it. And so many times in the Black community, we get burned because we talk to our best friend or our mom or our dad or our girlfriends or our new boyfriend. And then what happens, a month later, 2 months later, 5 years later, whenever, now this person is abusing us with the information that we share with them, and or worse, they're going to share this information with somebody else who we don't know like that, who we didn't choose to confide in, and now that person is throwing it in our face and we didn't even share with them. And so, we as people have to get unafraid of therapy, unafraid of getting help, and understanding the power of investing in ourselves, our own mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and the emotional and spiritual health of our relationships, not only financially, but just energy and time wise. That a lot of people believe that they can just agree to be in a healthy relationship or just agree to be in a healthy marriage. And that's just not true. That
right.
The you have is what you've built, right? So there's a vacant lot on the corner. If I point to that lot and say, that's my house, I agree that that's a house. Yes, that's our house, but there's no house there.
Right.
You're lying to yourself. If you build a house on that lot, now you got a house. And it's the same relationship. You can say, look at me, we together. Yes, we said we together, but you didn't build nothing, so you don't got nothing. You got a dream, a picture of a house, but you haven't built a house yet. And when people begin to understand that, they'll understand that after that's done, you have a solid relationship that you can really build something on. But we have to be willing to put in the work. And so sometimes that work includes getting some outside help.
Yes, I love it. I really wanted to ask you that question because the work that I do and the work that you do can be very similar. I talk to a lot of women. I've also been a stylist for over 30 years. So
you're the rabbi.
Huh?
I said, you're the rabbi, you're the priest, you're professional.
Yes. So being behind the chair, I have always coached women. And so when these type of things come up, women are often very apprehensive. And you mentioned it, withdrawn about being forward and coming forward about talking to things that have happened in their lives, even to their husbands. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't get that because so if we just talking about sex and we're talking about how sex is freeing and how you need to explore and be open and this, that, and the third, and you get to the place where you marry somebody and now you can't talk about what it is. Personally, I don't think that you should marry a person without sharing those things with them, because that might be something that could really cause issue in your marriage. So that I really wanted to hear what your take was on that as a man in your position.
Right. So that's a very important uh, dynamic that you brought up. Uh, very serious that uh, the construct of marriage and the pressure that people have placed on themselves to have the appearance of being more perfect and or better than what they really are is a real problem that deep down inside, everyone would love for someone to love them for exactly who they are, the
Right.
good, the bad, and the ugly. But we are so insecure and afraid, so we
Yeah.
operate from a place of fear that we just don't believe that if somebody knew some of the things we've said or some of the things that we've done that we don't feel good about, that a person was, or things that even have been done to us that we don't feel good about, that that person will no longer love us the same way and no longer see us the same way, admire us the same way. And so many people are walking around afraid all day, every day to be themselves around anybody,
Yeah.
even in private. And so uh, just tomorrow, doing a talk with a few other relationship consultants and coaches, and it's all surrounding being able to attract your person. And one of the first things I'm going to talk about is finding yourself, being honest with yourself, discovering yourself. You can't find your person if you haven't even found yourself. And
Right.
so, again, a lot of us are making decisions and choosing people and relationships and connections based on what other people think and society says, and we really haven't found out what's good for us. One of my favorite quotes in the world is a quote that says, "It takes us a long time to learn to like what's good for us," right? Because so often what we say is our type or the type of things that we like is not good for us. And that doesn't just apply to relationships, that applies to food, jobs. People stressed, they got some job that's stressing them out to death. They having strokes, they having anxiety attacks, but they won't go, find another job or take another path because this is their comfort zone, because this is what they're doing for so long. 80% of people who go to college for a specific major end up working in the field that has nothing to do with
Right.
their degree. And this is, shows you that so many people are not in alignment with what they want or who they really are in life. And so that is so important to having a healthy relationship. Prior to the pandemic, of course, I talk to strangers all the time. Anybody that I saw with a wedding ring on, if we're in line, we're on the elevator, anything, I say, hey, give me one quick tip, you know what I'm saying, about marriage, and I've done this thousands and thousands of times. And I remember this one guy, Caucasian guy, he said, with me and all my friends together, 6 of us. And he said in the last 4 years, all of us got married. And he said, 3 of us, we kept it real with our wives, with our girlfriends right from the start. The good, the bad, the ugly. This is us, da 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 da. He said, all of us have healthy relationships. He said, all the other 3 guys are either already divorced or in the process of getting divorced because they tried to put on this representative to their wives,
Yeah.
and not reveal who they truly are. And then so now 3 and 4 years into the marriage, they're finding out who you really are, and they're realizing that they're married to somebody that they didn't know, and so therefore that's not what they signed up for, and it's resulting in divorce. And so I know it's a scary thing. It's much easier said than done. But there is a person out there who will love you for you, but you owe it to them and yourself to let them see who you really are, the good and bad and ugly. Obviously, over time, don't on the first date dump everything on them, but go into it with the mindset that it doesn't, being a great date, being a great mate, Being a great spouse does not require perfection. Being a great parent does not require perfection. Being great at your career does not require perfection. Michael Jordan is the best player to ever play the game. He missed over 55,000 shots because it doesn't take perfection to be Michael Jordan, and it doesn't take perfection for you to be the best mate, date, spouse, parent, son, brother, uncle, auntie, whatever it is. It doesn't require perfection. You know, give it your best shot, give it your best effort. Understand that, you know, the growing process never ends. That, you know, if you want to have the best life you can have, you're going to need to keep growing forever. That, you know, you improve and you're proud of yourself and celebrate. And I want you to celebrate that, and then look at some more ways that you can possibly improve, because the more you improve as a person, the more your quality of life improves. And of course, that applies to relationship and sexual compatibility as well.
I love it. I love it. I mean, the wisdom nuggets that you are dropping are essential to and transferable, not just to intimate or sexual relationships, but relationships as a whole. Like you said, it doesn't take perfection to be a great mom, great at your career, great at, you know, whatever relationships you're in. It's important first for you to know yourself. Know yourself, be your best self, and let everybody else figure out what that means to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to
Absolutely.
your point, you don't need everybody to like you. You don't need everybody to love you. There are people that are going to naturally gravitate to your person just because of who you are. So, I want to ask you one last question, and then I'm just gonna just let you kind of freestyle if there's anything extra that you wanted to share with with the audience. So you talked about being intentional, being creative, and being innovative as it relates to your sexual relationship. Talk to us about that.
Uh, you know, anything that isn't growing is dying. I say that again. Anything that isn't growing is dying, because the world keeps moving, right? The earth keeps rotating. So me and my friends, the last few days, the conversation has been 2021 doesn't care what you're doing or not doing. It just keeps marching along. It's February, right?
Right.
Well on its way to March. You're going to blink and it's going to be March. The world don't care. Life goes on. You know what I mean? No
Right.
matter do or, you know, aren't doing, you know. So you have to continue to grow, and you have to be intentional about that, meaning you're looking for ways to grow. If you can't take criticism, if you can't listen to anything anybody says, if everything makes you defensive, if you only listen to respond, you are not going to grow. And while you may be still living, you will not be alive, right?
Mm.
And so please understand the difference between the two. That some people are, you know, excited to come home, excited to leave the house, excited to do whatever it is they do all day to make their living, or do whatever it is they're doing, excited to be with their kids, excited to be with their significant other. And then there are other people who are dreading all of these things. You know, every once in a while, I'm downtown early in the morning. It's downtown Chicago, so there are literally a million people on the street in between the hours of 6:30 and 9 o'clock in Chicago every morning, Monday through Friday. This is how many people before the pandemic are going to work, and I see people that are pissed off already. They ain't got to work yet. They are at the stoplight. They are on the bus. They are walking down the street, and they don't even realize it. But from my car, I can see that they are livid. already. The day cannot go well when you're feeling that way. And then there are some people, they are bopping down the street as if they just won the lottery.
Right.
You know, the difference between the two things is perspective. So there's this great quote, and it talks about two dogs going into a room, right? And so the one dog goes into the room and it starts barking and going crazy. And finally the owner pulls the dog out of the room. The other dog goes in and it's just rolling around and licking and just so happy. And we find out at the end of the story that what's inside of the room is a room full of mirrors.
Oh, wow.
Right? So the dog that was barking and growling and being aggressive, it was because he was seeing himself.
Yeah.
And he was seeing himself. And so that's how he saw the entire world, you know, and the dog that was happy because he saw himself in that mirror. And life is, exactly like that. Again, easier said than done. Sometimes, people hear people talk and talk about philosophies and perspectives, and they like, I need a pill or something that I can just take because this is too hard. This is too much work. This is easier said than done. And it is, it is much easier said than done. But I'm not here to tell you that it's easy. I'm just here to tell you that it's worth it. So being intentional about every aspect of your life, being purposeful about every aspect of your life, understanding that you do have tremendous influence and power over what you attract into your life and the results that you get in life. And once you embrace that and accept that and just begin to practice forming new habits that just are designed to get you what you want, not to be a good person because Nyatu Marvelous Hitch thinks so, not to be a good person because Coach Lowe thinks so, not even necessarily to be a good person just because Jesus thinks so, or your pastor thinks so, or the church thinks so, because you think, right? Because it makes you feel good. And so, the two areas of my practice is one, healing, past baggage, past trauma. While very natural, I'm very empathetic to it, but no amount of feeling sorry for you or no amount of somebody else feeling sorry for you can heal that for you, right? You can't have your best experience. You can't have a healthy experience in life if you're walking around broken and incomplete and not whole. And so the first part of my practice is to help people heal. Nothing you've done and nothing anybody else has done to you is unforgivable. You're a human being. You make mistakes. You can change it, and you can embrace that. And the second part of what I do is to help people get in alignment. So there are some people who are already healed in many ways and in great places in many areas of their life. Really, truly great people, but there are things that they're thinking, saying, and doing that just are not in alignment with what they say they want. So I've said this a million times. I understand that if I was in the same shape that I was when I was in my teens and 20s, that I could easily go viral. If I had abs right now, I could just take my shirt off anytime I want to and take a picture, that I could monetize my social media even more than I have thus far. But I like chocolate chip walnut cookies, and I keep eating them. And that ain't in alignment with having a six-pack and pecs. I know this, right? I'm still a good person. I'm smart. I'm focused in a whole bunch of ways and successful in a whole bunch of ways. But my stomach, not so much. Why? What I do and what I say about how much I love cookies and eating cookies is not in alignment with me getting a six-pack. And so some people are doing the same thing as it pertains to their career, the same thing as it pertains to their relationship, even the same thing as it pertains to parenting, that you are just doing what is your habit and not what logically 2 + 2 = 4 will bring you that 4 result. And so, a lot of people don't believe there's a good man or woman out there. A lot of people say they hate dating. A lot of people say they hate starting over. They hate relationships. They hate to get to know each other apart. And the universe is like, oh, you want to hate these things? Okay, I'm going to give you exactly what you say you want. Because that's what you tell me. Every time you talk, every time you think something, every perspective you put out there, you're telling the universe what you want. So if you saying ain't no good men, oh, you like no good men? Here, have more, right? I hate dating. Oh, you want more dating experience that you can hate? Here, have more. The universe deliver to you exactly what the universe hears you saying that you want. And so, that's why my last live was about green flags and I read red flags. Don't be out here looking got the red on for Valentine's Day and things of that nature. Nothing wrong with the clothes, but don't be out here looking for red flags. Look for green flags. Expect to see and look to see the things that you want, not the things that you don't want. And so that's what being intentional and purposeful is all about in life and in relationships.
Okay. And so what you talked about specifically in the sexual compatibility area, you talked about being creative and being innovative. And I just want you to just kind of give women some tips about some of those things that make a difference when you show up.
Okay, great. So, the goal here is to make the man feel good about himself, right?
Right.
And so compliments are a great way to make a person feel good about themselves. And I'm not saying make up lies, but there are attractive attributes to every person. So this requires you to pay attention to be able to deliver those compliments that Black men, when we turn on the television or we look on social media, we see other Black men being degraded by the police, by the government, by the media, unfortunately, even sometimes by each other.
Right.
So it can be difficult for many Black men to go out here into the world and feel great about themselves and their position in the world. There are a lot of us feel like we're driving Miss Daisy, right? And that we're not far from the slavery days, that we only are valuable if we have a lot of money. We're only treated with respect. And even in some cases, even then, when we have a lot of money, we don't even get the respect. And so a man doesn't want to have to go out into the world and be at war with the world all day, every day, and the world trying to beat down on his confidence and self-esteem and his perseverance and his ambition and things of that nature, and then come home and be at war with his woman. So there's a quote that says, better 1,000 enemies outside the house than one inside the house. And so, instead of talking to a man about your day at work and who was gossiping about who and who has the messed up new hairstyle or who cut their hair or who got caught cheating, maybe take a little time to consider some things you might could talk to your man about when he walks through the door that would uplift him, that would nourish his mind, that would be of benefit to him. That women are outstanding at being organized and making things happen. And so if you know that there are some things out here in this world that excite your man, that bring him joy, that he may not be fulfilling that in this moment, sharing information, finding out things, contributing to his growth, or even just expressing belief in him and encouraging him. These things seem very small, but they can mean everything. And so, yes, in any way that you can, treat that man like a king. If just extra little things that you can do. So, one of the things I mentioned in the book, you can purchase a crown on Amazon for like $25. And when he's coming in feeling like a peasant on a particular day, you can put that crown on his head and make him feel like a king, any day of the week. You could be making your regular meal that you're making, but as you're making it, you're telling him that you can feel he needs some extra love. So you're putting some extra love in the lasagna today. You're putting some extra love in the fish today, that you would be amazed at how the mind and the psychology works, and that, recognition and appreciation means more to people than money and a whole bunch of other things a lot of times. They did some psychological tests where it was asked if a person would rather a raise that nobody knew about, or a promotion that nobody knew about, or some type of recognition at work in front of all of their peers and colleagues at work, or even time off. Those were the 4 categories. And believe it or not, psychologically, it gives people a bigger boost just to be recognized. And so we can be creative about how we recognize our people, whether it's, getting their clothes together, getting a bath together for them, fixing them a drink, coffee, rolling them a joint, whatever your thing is.
How about putting on a sexy outfit or something? You talking about rolling a joint.
Right. I was supposed to be talking about sex. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that part too. So yeah, lingerie, just a t-shirt. It doesn't even have to be something fancy. One of his t-shirts, men love to be surprised. So, if you pop that house coat open or pop that coat open and there's something under there that he didn't expect, trust and believe he's going to be, cheesing. There's so many ways to get music for free right now. And there's so many feel-good songs out here. Music can take you to another place. I can remember times in my life where I just was coming from court and I was all upset and discombobulated, and I went inside a Target and they was playing some Michael Jackson, and I just couldn't be mad. Oh, Mike just healed me with the words he said. He just was so killing it, but off the wall, that I ended up just singing it and just feeling good.
Right.
The same thing has happened to me with some Stevie Wonder, on the elevator. And so, anything, you say, hey, come here, baby, sit down. Let me take off your shoes. Let me undress you. Let me, help you with that. Let me do something for you. Get to know your partner's love language. Sometimes it's going to be an act of service. Sometimes it's going to be quality time. Sometimes it's just, words of affirmation, telling them you appreciate it. It's not easy to be a man. But on the sexual thing, I don't want to give everything away in the book, but I just love where we are in the world right now. You can pretty much order anything on Amazon to spice up your life. So you can turn your bedroom into you can get a temporary disco ball light, turn your bedroom into the club. They got free DJ apps on your phone. I've been hanging out with my lady friend and, DJing. I had the fog horns, I could scratch, and I'm not good at none of it, but it's just fun, to do together. And, so I love, watching, romantic movies. You Love Jones, you Love and Basketball and Brown Sugar and, all these great love stories that can get people in the mood. And so, these are some of the things that we can do. Talk dirty. I have a collection of provocative memes and GIFs in my phone, just to, throughout the day, keep things spicy, keep things, exciting, And so those are just some of the things you can do. And there's some more suggestions in the book. So as Coach Lowe said, definitely get the book.
Thank you so much. You have been such an amazing teacher to us today. And I am so grateful. So all of the women, I'm going to say, oh, thank you, Mr. Amazing. Thank you so much, Nyatu, for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure. You have given us so much to think about, so much to practice, so much to consider. And so I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. Y'all better know we will have Nyatu on again because he is just a really, really great guy and he has a lot to offer. So any last words? Do you just want to say, holla at y'all later?
No, I like if, people invested their time, people are going to invest their time to watch this. So I want to give them the most that I can possibly give them. And so what I want people to walk away with from this, even outside of sexual compatibility, is as it pertains to dating and relationships, that I have a 3-pronged steps to success in relationships. And so these are the things you want to get from your relationship, and these are the things that you want to give to your relationship. And so the true way to really know if you're in the right relationship is as if you're getting and giving three things. One, the right relationship should enhance you. That in some ways you should visibly be able to see how this relationship and this connection to this other person is contributing to you and making you better, and that you are bringing something to the table and that you are interjecting some type of energy that is enhancing your partner. The second thing is a good relationship, a healthy relationship, the right relationship in dating experience and or marriage should be advancing you, right? And so even my friends, same thing, that my friends every day, they come in with something new that they thinking about, working on, implementing, just found out. We're sharing resources. You know, if you talk to me today and you talk to me from a month from now, you might not even think you were talking to the same person, because I try to read and find out and dig up and share resources and network and exchange conversations so much that in a 30-day period, I will have some totally new and advanced stuff going on in compared to before. That inspires people. When I connect with other people, I like to share my resources with them as well to help them advance as well. And so these are the things that you should be looking to give and get from a relationship. So one, enhance you. Two, advance you. And three, romance you, right? That we all want love. We all want companionship. And you know, we have a great idea of what that looks like, and it involves interjecting some energy. And so, you know, the grocery store these days has very inexpensive bouquets of roses, you know, sometimes $10 or less, $6 or less. A card from Walgreens might take a little time to find the right one, but costs less than $5. There's so many little things that we can do. Write a little note and stick it on the refrigerator. Write a little note and stick it on somebody's bottle of water in the refrigerator. You know, write a little note and leave it on the windshield of the car. These are all small things that you can do to make a person smile and have romance in your relationship. And so when you see that happen, when you know you're being enhanced, advanced, and romance, and you're reciprocating those same things, that you will have a healthy, happy, sustainable relationship. And so that's what my last tip that I wanted to share with your audience, Coach Lowe. And I just want to thank you so much for having me on the show. You asked all the right questions. I love your energy. We were talking so good even before we got on the show that we almost didn't start filming this show, that we were having so much fun talking with each other and exchanging ideas. So I truly, as I shared with you before we got on the show, I like your energy. I appreciate your energy. It made me want to do the show. It made me excited to do the show. And it made me not care about nothing about them technical difficulties to get in our way to be able to do today's show. So thank you so much for being the person that you are and putting together this platform to be able to reach out other people and help other people. And, you know, I see big things in the future with your Coach Lowe brand and business.
Thank you so much, Nyatu, and ditto. Are we on for 4:44? Because I know you have a live to get on. Are we going?
Yeah, I do. Right. I got 4 minutes.
I know. All right.
I had told myself it's a Super Bowl. I didn't know if I was going to do it, but I think I'm just going to get on and do a Q&A where anybody who wants to ask me questions, they can ask me questions, but I won't do a topic. I just keep it light because I know people about to watch the Super Bowl, even though I will not be watching the Super Bowl until Colin Kaepernick gets a job, which is never. So I'm done with the NFL forever, but I'm not knocking anybody else's right to enjoy it, but I will not be watching.
I can appreciate your stance, but yeah, I think that it's important that you do get on. But I'm just sending love back in your direction and just saying thank you so much for you. I mean, you're an amazing teacher. This experience has been great, and I enjoy your energy just as much as you've enjoyed mine. But you have put out so much today, and I just hope that the audience can appreciate the time and the investment that you have made in each of us. So So thank you again, and I'll see you on at 4:44.
All right, awesome. Good night.